This is your reminder to live the life you want and not the life that people want for you. Hey, it's Heather Chauvin, wife, mother of 3 boys, former social worker, breadwinner, recovering hustler, and stage 4 cancer survivor. I'm not a fan of that term, by the way. Beyond all of these titles and labels, I'm a human being, just like you, attempting to navigate it all while feeling good. My goal on this podcast is to show you that you can live an energized, sustainable life, both at home and in your work. It doesn't matter if you stay at home full-time, if you work from home, you're a CEO, a successful business owner, or trying to find some inspiration. On this show, I attempt to keep it real with stories, interviews, and random thoughts. This is not a business or career podcast, and it's not a parenting podcast. It's both and so much more. You will laugh. You may even cry, and you may even get a little frustrated with the truth you've been hiding from yourself. I believe all human behavior is a language, whether it's through your child's behavior, your health, or a relationship. And when we learn to listen instead of react, we begin to understand what it truly means to feel alive and in control. It's time to put your big girl pants on and find your brave. Let's go. All right, ladies, I'm back and I'm doing my Friday Reflect and Review. And reflecting on this week, I've been thinking about what did I learn about myself? What have I noticed regarding what I would call universal energies going on and how I'm taking back control? What specifically did I do this week to do that? So I have not a confession, but something that about 2 months ago was absolutely terrifying for me to even declare to the world that I was doing. So I'm going to reveal what that is. And before I do that, I want to gently remind you that the Getting Out of Your Own Way mini course, it's a workshop. It's actually almost like an introduction to coaching with me. And a lot of times people hear mom is in control and they think everything that I teach is about parenting. And that's actually the exact opposite. I think parenting is one aspect of our lives. It's one extension. And when people say, I just want to learn about parenting, or I just want to learn about conscious parenting, and I want to get my partner on board, and, I just need to figure out my children's behavior. When I started my business and I was solely focused on parenting, what I noticed was it was a symptom. Just like if you have a rash or, there's something going on with your health, it's a symptom to a deeper rooted problem. And so what happened is as I started coaching, and I've been doing this for years and years and years, that's how Mastery, my coaching program, and Mastery 2.0 came about, because women were feeling out of control. And part of that was manifesting in reacting to their children or whatever. And then oftentimes I'll hear, women not knowing how to manage resistance, not knowing how to manage their fear, not understanding guilt, how to have those boundaries in healthy relationships, how to push through your money blocks, how to really feel boundaried with your time and your energy and be able to communicate your needs to other people so that you can live in alignment. Because here's the deal. I honestly believe that when you are living in alignment, you're being true to yourself, ladies, we are going to fucking change the world. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but I think now more than ever, the world needs you to show up. Because the more joyful and energized and abundant you are, the more you can give. The more you can give to your immediate family, the more you can give to your community, and the more you are going to be able to literally create space and capacity for people who don't have a voice, people who, you have a platform or you just have opportunity to gift someone something. Imagine getting out of debt, making the income that you want to make, having the lifestyle that you want to have, not only that, improving your relationships, and this is a progress, not perfection, improving your relationships, and then seeing someone struggle or suffer. And you were like, one, I've been there, I've done that. You can either come over here and I'll show you the way, but I want to give you a little lift. And you're either writing them a check or you're paying for something and they're in the grocery line. I'm telling you right now, you have the impact to make a difference in this world. And when you do this, I've been getting a lot of feedback from the episode that I did with Dr. Valerie Rain on generational trauma. People saying, I had no idea, which is interesting to me because it's common sense, but that's because I've learned about this. So because I'm getting so much feedback, I'm going to start looking for other speakers to come on talking about epigenetics and generational patterns and things like that. Because I think the more we realize that our belief systems, whatever you truly do not work on in this lifetime, you are passing down to the next generation. So if you don't know how to live in alignment, if you don't know how to feel a sense of purpose, contentment, if you don't know how to feel in control of your anger, your fear, your guilt, the better. And, when you're doing the work, what I'm trying to say is when you're doing the work, the inner work to achieve the outer desires, you are giving your children less work to do as in their adulthood. So that was a long-winded way to say, if you haven't already registered for the Get Out of Your Own Way mini-series, you can actually go down download the PDF immediately and watch some of the training videos. So it's Heather Chauvin, last name spelled CHAUVIN.com/workshop. And the importance of doing this is we are doing a live round. So on July 13th, I'm going live. I'm going to be doing Q&A inside the private Facebook group. So I know some people don't like Facebook, but suck it up, buttercup. It's a literally free fucking coaching that I'm going to be giving you. So we're going to be digging deeper, lots of Q&As, lots of community interaction. So this isn't me so much teaching at you. I really want to know, what are your challenges? What do you want to create and cultivate? And we're going to have some fun. So heatherchauvin.com/workshop, Getting Out of Your Own Way. We start July 13th. And I would truly appreciate it if you would pass that along to at least one friend that you think would benefit as well. Okay, so the world, it's a reminder. I'm like, what the fuck was I going to talk about again? It's a reminder to live the life you want to live and not what the world wants you to be. Okay, so here's my confession. It actually feels a little vulnerable for me to say it, and I'm going to give you a backstory after I tell you. So for some of you who've been following me for a while, I have, we all have, but I've been working on my relationship with my body actively for 6 years since I was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer. Some people, they have eating disorders. Some people had to lose a whole bunch of weight. We all have a relationship with our body, and mine came to a head when I was diagnosed. And the reason why it came to a head was obviously because I was sick. But then I realized that my body has been sending me signs and symptoms for years, and I was never listening. I didn't know how to listen to my body. Knowing that a symptom or, really trusting your intuition, like all of these were little knocks on the door, and I just wasn't listening because as women, we are taught, do not trust yourself, do not trust yourself, do not trust yourself, do not listen to yourself, right? Look on the outside, not on the inside. So to reinforce and to look back in with yourself, it takes dedication. It's a commitment. It's literally a lifelong commitment. So, I grew up being average, the quote-unquote average person. Was never athletic, so I never fell into fitness or exercise or any form. I was in gymnastics for flexibility, but really any form of physical activity, never fell into that. food, talk about generational patterns and epigenetics and generational trauma. I wasn't taught how to eat healthy, as probably most of us were. And I actually came from a very lack mindset. So growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. Therefore, we didn't have a lot of food. So a bologna sandwich was like a gourmet meal for me as a child. And I didn't realize how much of my lack mindset, lack of money, which meant lack of food, really was brought into my adulthood. And when I was diagnosed, my body was so malnourished. I was actually asked, so I was diagnosed with, this was 6 years ago, a stage 4 Burkitt's lymphoma, which is what I've been told is found in African children. And I was also told a lot of it has to do with malnourishment or HIV, which scared the crap out of me. I do not have AIDS or HIV. But anywho, craziness going on. Talk about a fucked up immune system, okay? It's been 6 years and I have drastically shifted my immune system. Like, oh my gosh, daily habits, every day feeling like, is this going to get better? I'm telling you, habit stacking really works. So showing up a little bit every day, when you look back, you realize, wow, look how far I've come. So that said, I have over the years decided, I've tried everything, and I was never a yo-yo dieter as well. I feel like this is a long-winded story to tell you what I'm doing with my food and why I had so much shame around it and my body. So I'm trying to get back on track. I was never a yo-yo dieter. I never tried to lose weight. I didn't really need to lose weight. But after I was diagnosed, I was told that I was skinny fat, that I actually had a lot of fat in my body, but they were stored around my organs. So I was so confused by this because culturally people would say to me, you don't need to lose weight. Why are you working out? Which is such a fucked up mindset and mentality. So after getting sick, I started running, and as if you are a healthcare practitioner, you're probably screaming, no, why would she do that? I actually asked my doctor, my oncologist, as soon as I was done chemo, I said, I want to start running. If I start running, will my cancer come back? And she was like, no, you can start running. Never informing me that it's going to totally fuck up my adrenals and my hormones. Like, Heather, you almost died and now you're going to train for a marathon. But that's what you do when your anxiety is so bad and you need to run because you need to get it out of your system. Anywho. So I started running. I started CrossFit. Like, it was so masculine and go. And I'm honestly grateful that I did it. I needed to start somewhere. I needed to kick something in high gear. If I would have done the slow and steady and, progression thing, I don't think I would have stuck with it because I did need that like quick fix of, adrenaline, and just my body letting go of the anxiety and the fear because it was so intense. Like money fears, fear of dying, like just so much, like just trying to get better, but having, the subconscious limiting belief of like, I'm not enough. What if it doesn't work? So as I continued that, and then again, my body started talking to me. So my body, I would get sick all the time. I would get ear infections. I would get colds. And so that's your body's way of saying, please stop. Please slow down. And there's a fine balance there because sometimes you will get sick when you're pushing your immune system, when you're challenging your body. And it's a boundary, right? You have to listen and say, okay, like I heard you, I'll stop. And sometimes you're like, it's fine. I'm going to let it run its course and I'm just going to push a little bit harder. And every day you just have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and listening. Sorry, not pushing every day, but listening and pushing at the same time and knowing when to back off. And again, this is really about learning to trust your body and to trust yourself. So when your body says no, you say, okay, fine, I'll stop. But if you know that your body's trying to trick you into staying safe and not growing, so it's just trusting your intuition and your body is such a deep skill. And this is a lot of what I teach women inside of my mastery coaching program. So that said, I kept going and kept going and kept going. And then I was playing around with food. So I was like, well, am I a vegan? Am I a vegetarian? Do I eat all plant-based? Like, what am I supposed to do? Because there's so much fear around food. So now I have landed in this place where I journal a lot. And for the past few years, I said, wouldn't it be funny if I entered a fitness competition? Okay. Wouldn't it be, and I didn't say funny. Oh, it'd be so cool if I did a fitness competition. And ladies, remember that I always say it's not the thing that you want. And I learned this from Danielle Laporte. It's not the thing that you want. It's the feeling that you're after. So how do you want to feel? So I was always asking myself, why would I want to do a fitness competition? Because I have no desire to actually do the competition and to, spray tan myself and to go on stage and do that. I have no desire to do that. But I was like, what is the feeling that I'm after? And honestly, when I asked myself that question, and I know that people who do competitions, not everybody feels this way, so that I'm not comparing that industry because that can be unhealthy as well, like depending on how people train, is I wanted to feel amazing in my body. I wanted to feel clean in my body. I wanted to feel light in my body. I wanted to feel at home. I wanted to feel decluttered in my body. And if your body is your home, right? If your body is this place where your soul lives, if your body is your plate, like it's the bag of skin that's with you 24 hours a day, why are we not taking really precious care of it and making it a priority? So 2 months ago, I was actually on Instagram and a colleague who I value tagged her personal trainer. And so I clicked on the personal trainer, and the personal trainer did fitness competitions. And what I also noticed about this personal trainer was she was very like-minded in the sense that she was about meditation and mindfulness and really understanding your thoughts. And so I sent her a message and I started having a conversation with her, and I asked her, like, do you train people for these competitions? Because I do not want to do a competition, but I want to go through the prep. I want to have that body transformation and make this a mind shift, a habit shift. And I'm just so sick of this, like, hey, are you the one that's going to help me? Are you the one that's going to help me? And looking for that and just finding it. And she said, no, but my coach does this, and she offers what she calls a body transformation. So her coach was somebody who's constantly in competition, and she also offers this 6-month coaching program for women who don't necessarily want to compete. So I was like, okay. So then I started following her coach, and her coach is like this ripped, almost 50-year-old woman. So again, I was intimidated. So they count macros, so macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats. And I had so many stories. So these were my stories. My stories around this was counting macros is restrictive. It's a diet. I'm gonna be starving. I'm gonna be hungry. Another story I told myself is this woman is too masculine. She's going to be a hard ass. She's going to scare the shit out of me. This is not sustainable in my current lifestyle. I can't do this. I had so many stories around, and then this was another story that I had. I should love myself the way that I am today. Because then there's this body positivity movement, right? It's very confusing. So at the beginning of this podcast, I started telling you about who the world wants you to be versus who you want to be. And honestly, when I see people, women of all shapes and sizes, if they exude confidence, and you can tell, it doesn't matter what somebody looks like, if they are confident, you can tell. I'm attracted to their confidence. I'm attracted to their energy. I do not fucking care what somebody else looks like. What I am doing always is judging myself, right? We're always judging ourselves. But I'm actually not the type that looks at other women and judges them. I I don't know. I'm so inspired by other women and I'm just intrigued by them. Like, how did you become who you are and whatever? So I'm not really ever judging a lot of other people. I'm always judging myself. And typically, well, always, if you're judging somebody else, especially somebody else's body, it's a projection of a judgment of your own body. So again, when I'm looking at this woman, I'm thinking, this is going to be too hard. This is restrictive. This is da-da-da. And putting all these limitations on myself. But then I ask myself, okay, this is the whole point of what I'm trying to get to at this podcast. Then why did you write you wanted to do a fitness competition in your journal? Heather, that was a damn breadcrumb. You need to listen to it. So I had this breadcrumb of what I've been attracted to, which is very athletic women, and a story, which is resistance in between. So I applied for her program. I got in. I shit my pants because I'm like, what if I fail? 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 Right? Which is, I hear this all the time when women start working with me. What if I fail, Heather? And I was like, you are the only one that's going to get in your way. As long as you're willing to talk to me and say, I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I'm failing. I'm like, we got this. We can do this, right? You pick yourself back up, but you just have to be willing to make mistakes and start again. So I started counting macros, and I actually started 2 months ago. And I've been like, I would say 90% good with it. And I did a side-by-side photo that one day I'll post it, but probably in a few months. I was so fucking proud of myself. I've only lost 4 pounds, but that doesn't mean anything because the scale's a fucking liar and so are your measurements. Looking at my body, okay, I was so bloated and I still have a lot of bloat and just like I still don't feel home in my body. But what I realized was these stories were just stories and it was complete bullshit. And a lot of those stories were expectations and things that I hear other women say. And I realized that a lot of my limiting beliefs weren't even from my mother or generational crap. It was some of the women that are in my circles, some of the women that I surround myself with, and the things that they say about food and the things that they say about their body. And I wasn't listening to what I wanted. I was listening to what other people were saying. Even though they weren't directing it towards me, I was absorbing their limiting belief around what my body should look like. So I said yes to the breadcrumb. And when I said yes to the breadcrumb, I felt more in alignment. And it was just another puzzle piece to feeling in control of my life. And it's not going to be an easy journey. But the thing is like every day I get to create a little bit more space and learning the habits of meal prepping and all of that. And it's been a long journey. And you think you eat every day, so why not prep for it? You should move your body every day, so why not prep for it? And if I feel like I don't have time in my day to move my body, like, what does that mean? If my body is my home, if my body is something that's going to be with me all day, every day for the rest of my life, why wouldn't I create space for it? And so it's reverse engineering how you want to feel, but it's also realizing that the more you respect yourself, which means respecting your body and creating time and space for your body, and creating time and space for how you're fueling your body, and creating time and space for your mind. It doesn't have to be an overnight thing. You don't need to work on that right now. You don't even need to work on understanding that. All you need to say is, tomorrow I'm going to create 10 more minutes for myself. Or tomorrow I'm going to shift my calendar just a little bit to test my barrier and my emotional capacity. So I'm telling you this now that I'm coaching with somebody who, potentially I'm supposed to be not really training for a fitness competition, but, maybe it's my expectation of like, oh my God, who do they think I'm going to be? Or, they're probably like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Who fucking cares? Who cares? Because I feel more energized and alive. And that's the whole fucking point of what I'm trying to teach you. And I also realized that counting macros, and if you don't know what macros are, just YouTube it or Google it. Counting macros is the same fucking thing as energetic time management. Counting macros is the exact same thing as managing your energy, managing your time, managing your finances. I have boundaries with my food. I'm eating more than ever and I'm losing weight. Isn't that interesting? When you are fueling your body properly, all of a sudden it lets go of the weight that it was holding on to keep you safe. Because if your body thinks it's going in survival mode, it's going to keep weight on because it thinks you're going to die. So it's so intriguing to me how our culture lives ass backwards and is so fucked up that we think obesity is the norm and we question people who are lean. Fucked up. And when I say that, I am not talking about body shapes and body sizes. I am legit talking about obesity. I'm telling you right now, you can become whoever the fuck you want to become. You don't have to work out. You don't have to change your food. But the more you ask yourself, what would respect look like in my body? What would respect look like in my mind? And you start taking action towards that. That is how you get out of your own way. All right, ladies, thank you so much for listening to me today. Reminder, Get Out of Your Own Way mini course starts July 13th. Join it. It is free. heatherchauvin.com/workshop. Please share it with a friend. If you haven't already, please, 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 please rate and review the podcast on iTunes. Love you lots.
Hey, Mama's in Control listeners. It's Sarah.
And me, Sasha.
And we are the co-hosts of the podcast Dear White Women, which is a show that eases you into uncomfortable conversations about racism. So we know anti-racist work is at the top of mind for everyone right now, and we really believe that anti-racist work is not a moment, it's not a thing that we're doing right now, it's a lifestyle. And so for us, we're making our work concrete, practical, and accessible for the long haul. And Heather invited us to come on her podcast to share just one of the resources we're committed to, which is our monthly virtual book club. So we've started a Patreon, and if you head over to our podcast website, dearwhitewomen.com, we would love for you to join us. The book club starts in August, so you'll have time to grab the book and start reading if you join us now. Thanks again.